You heard a presentation from Darlene that talked about her challenges as an area engineer. So what we do in the San Antonio district is basically try to take those challenges and try to streamline it for our area offices. So one of the things that we see in our district is we have a lot of inspectors that do multiple things. They're asked to be an inspector, material inspector, site manager. They have to drive, they're a mentor, and they're also a safety champion. So with all these tasks that they're required to do every day, and with the amount of projects that are coming up, we wanted to relieve some of that by coming up with a way to justify hiring either a CE&I or coming up with how many people do we need to hire. And that will be later on with Mario Jorge tomorrow. He'll be talking about that. So in my presentation, we're going to talk about level of effort, and I'm going to be talking about it, defining it differently depending on what we're talking about. So when I'm talking about the district, when I talk about level of effort, it basically means the number of inspectors that are needed using the capacity planning tool that Fort Worth came up with. And then when we go down to the project level, when we talk about level of effort, it's the number of hours it takes to perform the tasks by each inspector. So kind of some of the data out of the San Antonio district, right now we have about 40 CE&I inspectors, and when I say inspectors, it's equivalent to the GETS inspectors, not the project managers or any of the engineers. So right now we're running about 50-50. Both on the number of staff as well as the construction budget that is sent out to CE&I. So the process for us in determining the level of effort is basically utilizing our district 4-year plan, and from that we come up with the number of inspectors needed, develop the procurements with PEPs, negotiate the level of effort with the CE&I firm, with the area office, onboard them, and then, of course, monitoring their progress. So we're going to go into the district level. So right now, what we utilize is basically the Fort Worth model that is found on the Crossroads CST website. And it's a monster Excel spreadsheet. So if you've had to use it, it's a monster. But we think we've got it down. So like I said, in order to use the Fort Worth model, what you're going to need is two things. You're going to need your 4-year plan, and what you're taking out of the 4-year plan is the construction costs for the projects as well as the number of months that it's going to take to actually build that project. That's a data input into the Fort Worth model. And then the second thing that you're going to need in order to dump into the monster Excel spreadsheet is finding out how much each inspector can handle per month. So right now, what we did, I have here is basically the number of inspectors that we have right now at the area office. And in 2015, those are our average monthly estimates per inspector for 2000 and 2015. So from that, what we've done between the district office, the area office, and admin, we kind of came up with the actual estimate that we're going to use in the Fort Worth model, which is basically an adjustment. And some of the considerations that you need to make is when you're looking at your estimates, what are your outliers? Are there energy sector jobs? Did we default a lot of projects? And as you can see in traffic, we happen to default some projects, and that's why the estimates per inspector are really low. Also, you want to take into account inspector experience. Maybe you want to keep some projects with you because you want to do some inspector development. Maybe you're going to want to choose projects side by side. What type of projects do your inspectors generally handle? Also, you want to take into account night work and flash time. So with all those things, you come up with an adjusted monthly estimate per inspector. So Fort Worth model, it's $250 across the board, and we decided to go ahead and make adjustments based on each area office with the estimates and the experience. So there's a range. So once you have those three items, basically it's able to graph for your district your need. So on average, for our district for the next 2 years, we need an average of 107 inspectors. And right now, on staff, we only have 42. So we need to fill the gap. So we need to decide what projects are going to go out to CE&I and how many FTEs we're going to need. And those conversations happen between, again, the district, the area office, and administration. So, and this kind of gives you the entire district, and it also has a graph for each area office. So I chose Hondo. They're a rural area office, and as you can see, they are going to have some peaks in May 2018 and late July. From there, the AE or the district staff can back into the Excel spreadsheet and take a look at what exactly is pushing those estimates and what projects are they, so that they can decide, okay, you know what, I may have to go ahead and send that out to CE&I, or hey, Mario, I think I'm going to have to hire 3 more FTEs. So those we can make decisions from these graphs. So now I'm going to go into determining the level of effort at the project level. So what we do at the San Antonio District is we have a kickoff meeting at the DCO level with the CE&I. We invite the area office and the designer, because they know everything pretty much about the project, and they'll be able to help. We also invite PEPs, and we talk about what we actually want from them. You know, who's going to be doing the materials testing? We recommend that you have 2 on board because of the issues of the DBE as well as the conflict of interest with the contractor. The San Antonio District said if the contractor chooses firm A, you're going to have to find firm B. You cannot use firm A. So those were decisions that we made. We talk about preclusion issues. We talk about fraternization, as you can see. So we talk about different things that we want the CE&I to know about our district. And from that, they have to submit an Exhibit E. And the Exhibit E has been very beneficial to us. And what it does, it allows for the CE&I as well as the district staff and the area office to see what the level of effort is in one snapshot. And so what we do is we actually print it out on the plotter, and we gather around and we basically take a look at what's driving the costs. At the top is basically a bar graph of how long our project is going to take. And at the bottom basically graphs the level of effort, which is what you would expect a problem, right? So you expect some ramping up, leveling off, and some, and then we end the project. So with that, it allows the district staff to be able to review the hours quickly, and then it can be broken down into the Exhibit D. So once we decide on the hours, we do have workshops that we do at the district to basically tell them about our site manager process, how do you do invoices with our PEPS group, all our expectations for our district. And then from there, they're expected to go to the area office and have a kickoff meeting with the area office, because, you know, the area office probably will tell them direction as far as who's going to do the 599. When is that going to be turned in? When is the estimates going to be turned in? Maybe they're going to want it a day before the district deadline. So those are the things that the area office needs to discuss with the CE&I, and we pretty much follow the CCAM to make sure that we hit every topic that would be required of the inspection team. So now we're on to project progress. So we've got them onboarded, so now it's a matter of how do we make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. So as you know, when you start getting phone calls from internal auditors, you start to think, maybe this is a thing. Maybe we're gonna be audited one day. So we decided, you know what, we better stay ahead of the curve and come up with something so that we are ahead of the curve. So one of the things that our district came up with was field audits, and what those field audits are basically asking the tech.PM that's assigned to that CE&I to, go and talk to the CE&I firm. Hey, what time did you start today? What time do you expect to leave? Who's the material tester here today? What's his name? Are they doing the barricade reports? They're doing a drill shaft? Okay, check their installed work report. Check if they're actually doing the calculations that's required. Are they using the forms that you told them that they need to do? So that's something that you may conduct as a field audit. Then the second part of it is the scope. Are they fulfilling the scope that we discussed at the very beginning? Simple things as there's a list of deliverables they're required to submit. Are they actually submitting it to you? Are the rates in the invoices correct? Also, you may want to take a look at if you have multiple, if you have a PM and they're on multiple projects, you may want to take a look at their invoices. In our case, we have a consultant on multiple projects with multiple AEs. Some of the area offices actually call the other AE and say, hey, I'd like to take a look at firm A's invoice for this month so that I can check it against mine. And that's just a simple check to make sure that everything is on the up and up. Also, we produce utilize a burn rate, and that's something that one of the AEs requested that I do, which basically comes up with how much are we actually spending per month. It's just an average. That allows the AE to look at invoices quickly and determine whether or not it's a red flag. If they normally are charging $5,000 a month, which they're not, and they send in an invoice that's $10,000, that's a red flag. When the Exhibit E is submitted, the assumptions, they talk to us, but I'm like, okay, we really need it all in writing so that when we review it with the area office, it's all there for them so that we're not going back and forth, because again, we're timed. PEPS times us on how fast we need to turn these things around. Once they submit, we submit for work authorization, the clock starts ticking for us to start negotiating and get it signed. So.
And how much do you actually interact with PEPS? Not the invoices and that, but to sit down and figure out the process. I mean, Darlene, I think, said best that we kind of fly blind, and I know like Greg and Fort Worth, they have a really, every day, they're talking all the time, and it's a lot more hands-on. We're 200 miles away from our local representatives. It's hard to learn what they're even doing in PEPS.
Yeah.
Because you're on the fly.
So like for us, the district office is usually the hub. So the area office usually comes to the district office saying, I have these needs. I'm constantly pinging them. The four-year plan has been updated. Do you have projects for me? So I'm constantly pinging them for projects to feed into our system, right? And then I have a meeting with our PEPS representative every 2 weeks. It's a standing meeting, 8 o'clock. I may show up and maybe we have a lot to say, and then sometimes I'm like, things are the same old. We don't need to meet up. But I do work with PEPS pretty much daily because they remind me of all the things I don't have. So, but they're great. I always send chocolates to keep everyone happy. So I think that's helped me. But yeah, we interact with PEPS very frequently, and I think that helps as well.
Yeah, but audits, who has audited you already, and what wonderful surprises have they found?
They have not. They have been asking more of what processes do you have in place to ensure that they are doing this or that. So it's an internal text dot auditor that has called me. And so when they started asking those questions, then I thought, I went to Gina, it's time to start thinking about coming up with something because they're asking questions.
And then the feds, how do they get involved in all that?
The feds have not been involved, at least at my level. They do choose projects as some place to go and check because it's a project of department interest, the potties. So we do have a potty job in the San Antonio district. That FHWA comes out frequently, quarterly, but they have not made any remarks about CE&I as far as the construction management. Joe, did you have a question?
Yeah, just a comment, Gina, the ungodly spreadsheet that you're working with, we have a project, a task force that will automatically put the projects in there.
That'll be great.
You're gonna be able to choose the rate, 250, 300, 400, 500, whatever, and it'll automatically put projects out of site manager for current projects and out of the 4-year letting schedule for future projects.
That'll be great.
It's getting close.
Okay. All right. Okay, yes, Eddie.
Oh, no, it just.
Okay. Yes, ma'am?
You said that you had the opportunity to drill down by function code and see what hours or what costs are associated with each. How is that calculated? How's that data done?
I called someone at CST and they produced it for me. It says it's a SQL file.
Is it shareable?
I'll find the email and have her get in contact with you.